Welcome to a place where hearts unwind, infinite threads that gently bind, love and compassion in every line. Together we rise through space and time.
Welcome back to Infinite Threads. I'm your host, Bob. You can love peace and still feel called to speak. You can love kindness and still refuse to be quiet when cruelty is normalized. You can believe in compassion and still find the strength to stand between harm and the ones being hurt. Love isn't weak. It doesn't back down just because someone says that's not your place. Because when someone is bleeding, love doesn't ask if it's polite to intervene. It moves. It acts. It protects. Not to prove a point, but to live from truth. There's a kind of love that hugs and holds, and there's a kind that rises with fire in its chest and says, no, not here, and not like this. Sometimes love puts on armor, not to wound, but to shield. It stands in the line of fire, not to strike back, but to say, you will not hurt them. You will not pass unnoticed. So many of us were raised to believe that love means softness, that it never disagrees, that it should smile through discomfort and let others walk their road, even if their road is paved with the bones of the forgotten. But, guys, here's some news. That's not love. That's comfort. That's approval seeking. That's fear disguised as gentleness. Love, real love, doesn't tolerate harm. Not to stay in good standing. Not to preserve a fragile peace. There are times when staying silent would betray everything that love stands for. When saying nothing becomes complicity. And in those moments, you must decide. Will you be a reflection or a witness? Will you mirror the silence of the crowd or break it open with truth that might shake the room? This doesn't mean that you raise your voice with anger. It means you raise your heart with clarity. It means that you stay rooted in compassion even when your words make others uncomfortable. Sometimes love is a whisper, but sometimes it's a storm. There are times when you are the only one in the room who sees what's happening. The only one who feels the injustice pressing on your chest like a weight. And in those moments, love might sound like, I don't think that's okay. Or, I need to say something. Or even, I can't pretend I didn't hear that. It doesn't have to be a speech, guys. Sometimes it's one sentence that echoes louder than silence ever could. I know I know what it's like to freeze, to feel the moment pass and wonder why you didn't speak up. I've felt that regret in my life. But I also know what it feels like to find your voice, even if it shakes, even if it trembles, even through tears, even if no one thanks you for saying what needed to be said. Because love doesn't wait for applause. It acts from conscience. It speaks from your soul. So here's the question for today. Where are you biting your tongue when love is urging you to speak? Where are you protecting the comfort of the room at the cost of your integrity? And deeper still, guys, what if your silence, what if it's being mistaken for agreement? What if your stillness is being read as approval? Not because you are bad, and not because you don't care, but because you haven't yet made peace with your voice. Take that in. You were never meant to be a bystander. Not when love placed you here for a reason. Not when the threads that connect us are fraying from neglect, from fear, from silence. Your voice doesn't have to be loud. It just has to be honest. You don't have to be eloquent. You just have to be real. You don't have to know all of the answers. You just have to be willing to say, this doesn't feel right, and I want to stand for something better. That's it. Love is not neutral. It doesn't straddle the fence while others bleed. It doesn't claim kindness while protecting systems that destroy. It doesn't offer silence in order to maintain comfort. It speaks. It shows up. And it gets uncomfortable. Because, silence is easy. But love isn't easy. Real love is brave. So if you feel the urge rising, if your heart is tugging you forward, if your soul won't let you rest until you say something, that's not guilt, guys. That's not drama. That's not you being too emotional. That's love. That's love trying to wake you up. It's inside you, trying to find the courage to form in your voice. Today, may you remember that the world doesn't need more silence. It needs more fierce, soft-hearted voices who dare to speak with love, who refuse to stay quiet in the face of harm, who know that compassion is not a passive feeling, but an active, sacred force. Speak. Speak. Even if your voice trembles. Even if your words aren't perfect. Even if you're scared. Let love be louder than the fear. Let love, well, let it refuse to stay silent. I love you guys very, very much. And you know what I need you to do. Go out and pass that on. Later, Gators. Bye-bye.